There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
People are dying in water.
They dry mopping this. Welcome everybody back to Joey Only Carry Weather Dude YouTube channel. Yeah, it's the Bad News Show episode for today. Looking at some of the latest developments in the annexation talk of Canada. I've put quite a few clips up there on the shorts and on Facebook yesterday and whatnot. Even found myself having my Facebook jail time extended. Yeah, now to April 12th until I'm able to use groups again as Joey Only. I have to use my Bobby Bobcat account. Total crap. So, yes, the threats continue towards Canada. They're very serious. They're very real. These people entirely intend to someday find a way to seize Canada. They want to annex us. They want to do it through first economic means, destabilize us, and if in 6 to 18 months they have not enough effect or enough effect but we're still unwilling, they intend to most likely militarily assault us. I'm not saying it's going to happen, friends. I'm saying this is the threat we're under. We have to take it seriously. The only way we prevent it for certain is to prepare for it and to ready ourselves for it. So something else we can do, though, in the meantime, is we can target some of the people that support Trump here in BC. You know, like obviously the chief clown in the Trump empire is Elon Musk. There's a couple protests this weekend in British Columbia at Tesla dealerships. And I'm going to tell you where those are. If you're in the area, I suggest you go down and have a look and see what you can do. So let's go for the news off the top here. Trump goes for the jugular with his Canada threats and does it with a smile today in the Independent. Brand new article. Trump's insistence that Canada is not a real country bears a striking resemblance to Putin's in the run-up to his invasion of Ukraine, Richard Hall writes. So this is the thing that douchebag was saying. So here he is. Here's the story in the Independent. Okay, it's rare for threats of annexation to be delivered with a smile, but in the Oval Office on Thursday afternoon, Trump repeated his intention to eliminate Canada from the map and occupy Greenland. I love Canada. I love the people of Canada. I have many great friends in Canada. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. Oh, yeah, that's great. You know what Wayne Gretzky needs is you going around more telling everybody about how much you love him, okay? He's already been bawling his eyes out. Everybody in Canada hates me now. The sad fucking clown Wayne Gretzky is. Too bad, sad clown. We don't like you no more. You go down to Mar-a-Lago there and celebrate Donald Trump's inauguration. You want to put Make America Great Again hat on, be seen wearing that around during Trump's election. You're a fucking stooge. You're a clown, Wayne Gretzky. Everyone's seeing through you. We didn't like you back when you're trying to sell McDonald's to children. Like, I'm going to drive my Ford truck up to McDonald's, drive through windows, be like me. I'm Wayne Gretzky, the great one, kid. Just a sellout right from the scratch, right? And then, of course, being the sellout he was, the referees wouldn't call that 4-minute penalty on him when he stuck Doug Gilmour in the face. I hate you forever, Wayne Gretzky. Anyways, he's the great one, says Trump. I know many people from Canada that are good friends of mine, he says with a smirk, explaining why Canada shouldn't exist anymore. Okay, Canada only works as a state, he went on. That's not true. It's working just fine right now, if you haven't noticed. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the United States. A straight artificial line. The artificial line actually is it's not artificial. It's a geographical, it's a geometrical line. How do you explain latitudes to these people? Okay. I don't know. They don't understand what a fucking latitude is. It's an imaginary line, a latitude line. So we made the border between Canada and America across a latitudinal line from Ontario basically through to BC. Okay. It's not artificial. Someone did it a long time ago. We did it for many reasons. We fought wars. We fought battles. We had many political arguments over this. It's so perfect and great as cherished as a state, he says. It's not all bad news for Canadians. In this terrible vision of the future imagined for them, presumably after brutal insurgency by the Royal Mounties has been crushed in the Canadian Rockies and after millions have fled to become refugees in other parts of Commonwealth, Trump promised that those left behind could keep their national anthem, but as a state anthem. Oh, Canada, the national anthem. I love it. I think it's great. I don't like it. It's a terrible song, but it's our song. Shut the fuck up, Trump. Keep it. But I will for the state, one of our greatest states, maybe our greatest states. Like, I'm starting to like the song more and more. As time goes on. So here he is sitting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, a fellow Dutchman. And come on, Mark, you really didn't stand up to him that much. You know, you didn't take the bait. I get it. You just played politics. I get it. Trump's comments come as a trade war are going on between Canada and the U.S. and the casualness of the threat is concerning, and so is the justification behind it. It's the first time in modern history a leader has threatened to annex a country for aesthetic reasons. It just wants to annex our country simply because it looks nice. This would be the most incredible country visually, Trump said of the new land he would create from the ashes of the destruction of our society. Okay. This is really fundamentally disturbing stuff, people. I mean, I can't any way around say anything about this that's positive, okay? Trump's threats are made all more jarring because they're interspersed with repeated calls for peace between Ukraine and Russia. Thousands of young people are being killed a week, and we want to see them stop, says Trump. They're not Americans. They're not from the Netherlands for the most part. They're from Russia, and they're Ukraine, but they're people. Suddenly he's a humanist? Yeah, fucking right you are. There's a grim irony here that his rhetoric on Canada bears a striking resemblance to Putin's own words on Ukraine. For years before he launched his invasion of Ukraine, Putin engaged in a similar campaign of attacks on the validity of Ukraine's existence, repeating the falsehood that it was not even a real country. Sitting alongside Trump as he laid out his plans for world domination was the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, who would in theory lead the fighting force that would be forced to respond militarily if Trump followed through on his threats. Moving on to Greenland, with an appetite that would make Napoleon blush, Trump suggested the NATO's chief might be able to help him take over the Danish-owned territory. Well, I think it'll happen, Trump said in response to a reporter's question. And I'm thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, because he doesn't give anything thought, but I'm sitting with a man who could be very instrumental, Mark. We need that for international security, Trump said, addressing Rutte. Rutte has obviously watched the horror shows of Volodymyr Zelensky and Keir Starmer's visit and trained for weeks in the art of deflection and flattery. He masterfully batted away each of Trump's invitations to sanction his sweep across the northern hemisphere. So when it comes to Greenland, yes or not, joining the U.S., I would leave that outside for me, this discussion, because I don't want to drag NATO into that, he said. But when it comes to the high north and the Arctic, you're totally right. The Chinese are using these routes. The Russians are rearming. We know we have a lack of icebreakers, he said. With Greenland, too, Trump offered up a lackluster justification. Denmark's very far away. A boat that landed there 200 years ago or something, and they say they have rights to it. I don't know if that's true. I don't think it is, actually, he added. Christopher Columbus is turning in his grave. He was insistent to the annexation of Greenland that it would happen, and for the first time raised prospect of military action to achieve it, again with a wink. We have a couple bases in Greenland already. We have quite a few soldiers there, Trump says, and maybe you'll see more soldiers go there. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pete? He asked the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, the former Fox News host. Don't answer that, Pete. Don't answer that, Trump said with a laugh. We're looking for ways to fight back here in Canada. One thing that's pretty obvious right now is that Tesla's stocks are taking a massive dive. I mean, no one wants to buy these vehicles now. They are being protested all over the place. There's being vandalism on stores, on vehicles set on fire. This is not just happening in one or two places. This is happening around the world now. These protests against Musk are becoming very vehement, very aggressive, very angry. People are very passionate because they know exactly what kind of evil they're standing up to. And it's a real evil. It's a tyranny that could drag the entire world into chaos. So 4 Tesla vehicles were set in fire in Germany on Friday, says my friend Gord Hill. Possibly the latest in an ongoing string of protests and vandalism around the globe directed at the car company since its CEO, Musk, became a key figure in President Trump's administration. German police said 4 vehicles were set ablaze in Planterwald and Steglitz neighborhoods in Berlin and the early morning hours of Friday, adding the political motives could not be ruled out. The thing is, at some point, if it acts like a Nazi, talks like a Nazi, gives a salute like a Nazi, says things that Nazis say, what point are you going to say, wow, these guys are actually Nazis? That there's actually a circle of billionaires who's trying to establish as much power and control over the world as they could. I mean, if they could have global control, they'd go for it. This is maybe as close as they can get right now. So you see these ultra-rich people like Musk lining their pockets as much as they can right now, gaining as much power as they can. There's talk of private citizen armies and things like that now. We could see these billionaires arm themselves in the future. So this is Musk. He's the key guy in the Trump administration, which is threatening to annex Canada. Elon Musk, who himself has said that Canada isn't a real country. People here think that his citizenship should be revoked. Well, if we can't revoke his citizenship, you can at least fight back. But let's talk about Musk. Let's talk about him right now, what he's saying here. Because he retweets this thing. This is a brand new article that just came up. Musk retweets, Hitler didn't murder millions message amid ongoing Nazi controversy. Okay. Wow. So this is today's article. Yes. Tesla chief and presidential advisor Musk shared a post Thursday that said public sector workers, not Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler, murdered millions of people, marking the billionaire's latest Nazi-related post as he and his electric vehicle company face continued backlash and boycotts, as critics say his embrace of right-wing politics is veering more extreme. That is extreme, people. That's really extreme. So what he's trying to say now is if Trump ordered a bunch of people to go out and kill a whole bunch of immigrants in America, we're going to round them all up and kill them. Well, it's actually not Trump that killed them. It was actually the public service sector workers that did that. Yeah, that's the military or whatever. So this is the most toxic, revisionist fucking shit that you can imagine. This guy, he's so powerful. He has so much money. He has so much influence. And a lot of people are just eating up the shit he says. And it's fucking pure foul. This is a guy who says he doesn't believe in empathy. Empathy, the main thing that it was found that all the Nazi war criminals lacked empathy. And Musk admittedly says that empathy is the problem. We need to defeat empathy. So he has 219 million followers on X, formerly known as Twitter. He retweeted a post saying Soviet revolutionary Joseph Stalin, former Chinese Communist Party chairman Zedong, and Hitler, whose regimes under his direction orchestrated the Holocaust, did not murder millions of people. Their public sector workers did. Why the fuck are you saying this sick shit? The post had 1 million views and 14,000 likes by Thursday evening. Musk's reposts come as Tesla is facing boycotts around the world that's resulted in calls for Tesla owners to sell their vehicles and posters in the Bay Area urging owners to sell your swastika. The report also follows Nazi puns made by Musk in January when he invoked the name of the infamous Nazi Party members Rudolf Hess and Joseph Goebbels after coming under fire for a gesture he made at a Trump inaugural event that was likened to a Nazi salute. No, it wasn't likened. It was a Nazi salute. My God, people. It's deeply disturbing and irresponsible for someone with a large public platform to elevate the kind of rhetoric that serves to undermine the seriousness of these issues, says the Anti-Defamation League. Musk has faced anti-Semitism allegations since 2023 when the billionaire openly agreed with a post that claimed Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against the whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. The post also said Western Jewish population was coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You have said the actual truth. Musk replied to that. So Musk was condemned for the post, and several advertisers fled from his platform in the wake of the comments. And then he tried to sue the advertisers for leaving. That's a whole other fucking fucked up story. It's like, if we don't want to advertise on you and give you on your platform and give you our money, that's our right. So a huge network of advertisers pulled out of Twitter at that time. So Musk sunk $200 million into the President Trump's campaign. He also gave another $100 million yesterday for his absurd sales pitch on the White House lawn where Trump bought a Tesla car, even though Trump can't drive, he says. Even though Trump has spent great amounts of time in the past talking about how electric cars can't last in the snow and don't drive very far. And every kind of knockdown he could think of suddenly vanished. And this is the way it works for Trump's people. They call themselves free thinkers, but basically whatever Trump says, everyone just gets in line with and fucking repeats, right? So he went from like all these far right people saying, "Oh, electric cars are no good," to now they're all saying electric cars are good. It's like unbelievable, right? It's like as soon as Trump says something, everyone just gets in line. There's no consistency with what they think and believe, and that's the difference between me and you and them. Is if you were to talk to me 20 years ago, I'm saying similar things to what I'm saying now, or at least coming from a similar perspective. I haven't changed in my perspective. My politics aren't rooted on emotional gratification or, my hatred or bigotry or just whatever feels good at the moment. There's actually a solid grounding that runs through my politics of skeptical humanism, of concern for people, of concern for the environment, of, to me, to me, I don't see any reason for a person to have $1 billion, especially more. I can't. I think that's a crime against the earth, and that's what I think. Okay, so he sinks $200 million into the campaign, and he's become the president's most senior advisor now. He faced criticism for his Sig Heil-like salute in January. Since then, the billionaire denied he made a Nazi salute. He played off the backlash with Nazi puns blasted by the Anti-Defamation League, which he defended his awkward gesture, but emphasized in a tweet that the Holocaust is not a joke. Anyways, whatever. So Musk has aligned himself with far-right political parties in the UK and Germany, appearing to a Alternative für Deutschland event in January, saying there's frankly too much of a focus on past guilt and we need to move beyond that. And, he's on the TV every day, high on ecstasy, dragging his kid around. The guy is just a fucking disaster, and he's putting millions of Americans into suffering. Have this up on Action Network right now. It says Musk is destroying democracy. He's using the fortune he built at Tesla to do it. We're urging action at Tesla to stop Musk's illegal coup. So sell your Tesla, dump your stocks, join the picket line. We're tanking Tesla's stock price to stop Musk. Stopping Musk will help save lives and protect our democracy. It may even prevent Canada from being annexed. So in Surrey on Sunday, March 16th of 2025 at 12 noon at the Tesla showroom and service center. That's at 12021 104th Avenue in Surrey. You may go look that up. Google Tesla dealership in Surrey. Go there at noon on Sunday. Make a sign, bring a picket, prepare to, I don't know who's organizing this or whatnot, but we're hoping that something's going to go on here. Vancouver against fascism. So tomorrow at 12 p.m. at the West 4th Avenue dealership in Vancouver. You can find that there. So if you're in West Vancouver, anywhere near there, feel free to head over to Vancouver Against Fascism at the Tesla. And this is going on all over the world. So this Action Network, we're looking at all the different places they got lined up. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of protests around the world, all against Tesla, all over the United States, all over the place. Maybe not as much in the Bible Belt. I don't know. Well, you know what? People there tomorrow shouldn't be at protests because they should be seeking cover and watching the weather. But there you go. All over the place. Las Vegas. Look at all these ones. Tesla dealerships all over California being taken down. Oklahoma. You get the idea. So that's what people are doing. They're organizing. They're organizing to try to cost money to the Tesla dealerships, organizing to try to cost money to these people who are trying to institute their own neo-American style of fascist politics in. And I mean, you don't believe me. I mean, you got to look at Jasmine Mooney, the way she was detained the other day, what's happening to people being detained by immigration. You can say, well, there's immigration laws. It's not the same what's happening now. It's not the same what's going on there now. You look at people are being threatened with lawsuits. People are losing their jobs. People are being fired for their politics in America. This is a dark time we're in. We're into a time of freedom under attack. Free speech is under attack. Anyways, my friend Gord Hill, great artist. He's working. He's working to make more art. So you could always check out Zigzag himself. He's a great artist, and he's got a number of cartoon comic book, like the 500 years of indigenous history of North America as a comic book, for example. I have it over here on the shelf somewhere. It's an amazing book. Gord Hill's amazing. Another brand new article coming out, the Washington Examiner. Trump's aggression against Canada disgraces America. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And people have to understand, we are at a state of war now. We're at a state of war with the United States. It's not a shooting war. No, it's a Cold War right now. But we are in a state of war with the United States, and this is your absolute proof. This kind of talk they're saying, it's not what you say to friends. It's not a friendly discussion as to whether or not we can become their country or not. It's not friendly. I don't appreciate it. Most people in Canada don't. It's a painful column to write, says the writer, who is Dan Hannon. He says, all my life I've seen the U.S. as the repository of man's loftiest hopes and ambitions. Well, you were wrong, because all that time around the world, the United States was funding dictators, was funding coups, was funding fascist coups in Venezuela, not just that. Let's go further back. Chile, 1973, Pinochet government. You could look at the incredible amount of work the Americans put into Southeast Asia, including the Vietnam War. You can, and Cambodia and Laos. You can look at their Middle East policy over the years and the creeping amount of wars that they've either sponsored, like the Iraq-Iran war, or groups they've armed, like the Israelis, to make war. You look at American foreign policy in Latin America and what they did to countries like Cuba in the past, and what they did and they were going to do to Cuba, the Bay of Pigs even. You look at tried to overthrow that country. The country had to defend itself for years, and I don't think it had a chance to develop the way it could have naturally and freely if it wasn't under conflict. So, I mean, some of the criticisms people make against Cuba, I don't think would have happened if they were allowed to have just been a country. Nonetheless, you could look at El Salvador, and Guatemala in the 80s, and the Contras and the Sandinistas, and you look at just the crazy amount of bloodshed that American CIA forces were sponsoring. You look at the fact there's 800 American bases around the world right now. So you think that these 800 American military bases around the world, that's not because of the repository of man's loftiest hopes and ambitions. It's because this has been an imperialist state that's expanded its territory ever since the end of the Second World War. Ever since it came out of the Second World War, the leader, essentially the two winners of the World War II were Russia and America, and I know that the Allies won is the common understanding, but if you think about it, the British lost their empire, French lost their empire, Germans lost their empire. The real winners, Japanese lost their empire. The real winners in World War II were the Russians and the Americans, okay? And that's why the Cold War happened after. So in that way, World War II didn't really even fully end because the Cold War continued for ever so long after. And in that way, World War II wouldn't have happened without World War I, all the things that led up to World. So it's like kind of most of the 21st century was caught up in this general story that started at World War I of empire, and then didn't really finish itself off until the fall of the Soviet Union, first in '89, then completely in '91. Right. So the end of the Soviet Union meant that the winner of the Second World War was essentially the United States. That's basically how the 21st century ended, okay? So nonetheless, because you're in the winning side, you're the ones writing the history books. In fact, your history books don't even mention that the outside world fucking exists unless there was a war there that you can frame as a heroic one, like one of the good wars. Americans don't know about world history. They don't know about Canada. They don't know about what goes on outside their borders. They fear things that they don't understand, and they're kept purposely ignorant. Their news media doesn't give you world news. Their schools don't teach world history, okay? So the loftiest of hopes and ambitions, it never was. And the idea, make America great again, I don't think it was really great. If you want to make America great again, you got to go back to 1491. That's the truth of it. America's never been as great as they want it to be. Has it been as bad as I sometimes paint it as? No. Been a lot of good things about it too, I'm sure. But nonetheless, I've never seen it as the loftiest hopes and ambitions. I saw it as a country that had a lot of good people in it that meant well and were kind, and it was a nice place to visit when I went down there in the past. That's not ever happening again. So even when the U.S. clashed with my British homeland, as when American troops invaded the Caribbean country of Grenada, a Commonwealth member in 1983, I still saw the U.S. as the good guys. They invaded a British Commonwealth country in the past, which doesn't bode well for Canadians at this point. But nonetheless, let's just hope that King Charles wearing Canadian battle honors on his uniform and the French nuclear attack submarine showing up in Halifax are signs that we're not going to be left alone by our allies that we were there for in World War I and World War II. So indeed, okay, so most people in Anglosphere feel the same way. British, Canadian, Australian troops went to Iraq and Afghanistan not because they had any interests, but because they felt the trauma of 9/11 as an attack on the English-speaking peoples. I disagree with that. Again, I think that we went to Afghanistan for American foreign policy. And we lost. You can go on my Joey Only Bandcamp, Joey Only Outlaw Bandcamp website, and you can look up Noble Cause of the Cowboy Soldier. Look up that song. It's a song about my friend she's no longer alive, but her son Nathan Hornberg was killed in Afghanistan. My friend's nephew, my other friend's cousins, from the Laree family in Nanton, Alberta. I got to be part of that family's mourning process in Nanton when I lived there. Okay, so and the family didn't want Nathan to go in the first place. So this idea, like we had to go and help America, it was wrong. It was wrong to have gone to Afghanistan. It was a waste of our time and money and our lives and our blood, and nothing fucking changed. And you don't go to Afghanistan and win a war. It doesn't happen. So it's impossible to back Trump's aggressive trade policies against Canada. Of course it is. Canada no more provoked Trump's tariffs than Ukraine provoked Russia, right? Trade across the 49th parallel, which Trump calls a straight artificial line, is governed by the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, which replaced NAFTA in 2020. This was the trade agreement that this asshole signed, okay? USMCA as the fairest, most balanced, and beneficial trade agreement we've ever signed into law, he told factory workers in Michigan. The best trade agreement we ever made. But before he dismissed that as off-the-cuff Trump hyperbole, look at the White House's press release. The deal marks a tremendous victory for American workers, farmers, manufacturers, businesses. Under the agreement, Canada has agreed to expand market access for American dairy, egg, and poultry producers. Canada has done precisely that. I keep being told by the cohort of MAGA tariff enthusiasts who've suddenly sprung up online that Canada is responsible for the row because of its brutal dairy duties, which isn't a thing, okay? There's a quota, and if more than that quota comes into Canada, then we have this tariff that comes in, so that the quota's set. I'm reluctant to be drawn into an argument with new and anonymous accounts of whose enthusiasm for tariffs is not matched by ability to spell the word. But for the record, the value of U.S. dairy exports to the Big Dominion is more than 3 times the reverse. There are more cows in Wisconsin than all the Canadian provinces put together. In any case, the tariffs had not been triggered because U.S. exporters have not exceeded the tariff-free quota. I don't know if that's true. We have a lot of cows in Canada, man. It's a big country. I don't think that Wisconsin's a very large state, but I don't know if it can seriously make up for all the cows in Quebec, Ontario, and all through the prairies and here in BC. There's a lot of fucking cows in Canada, man. So I don't know. Write about things you understand. You don't know cows. We know cows. In other words, Trump is impoverishing American car makers, construction workers, and consumers over a complete non-issue, right? Can the U.S. be trusted as a military ally or commercial partner? No. When Australia signed its free trade agreement in 2005, it expressly exempted its steel and aluminum exports from national security tariffs. Yet Australia, too, is being hit by Trump's levies despite having signed a deal that precluded that possibility. The other great English-speaking democracies have until now defined themselves, although they didn't often admit it, as American auxiliaries, ready to deploy alongside the great power when the call came. I was always opposed to this. That's why I'm politically the way I am. As a result, they were free to specialize rather than to develop full-spectrum defense capacity. They thought when the chips were down, they could depend on the U.S. for heavy lift. They didn't understand the U.S. was developing, gaining more and more power, sinking its claws deeper and deeper into everything around the globe. And then eventually you would find yourselves on the weak end of being its ally. If Americans are not prepared in the last analysis to play the good guys, they're no good guys. That's not true. We're the good guys. I'm the good guy. Us Canadians that don't want your shit, we're the good guys. The people who are going to go and fight at Tesla dealerships or whatever, you're the good guys, okay? And for what? Every poll, most Americans disagree with Trump's tariff policies. It's shared by almost every business organization. The polls show most Americans still see the United Kingdom as Canada and Canada as allies. Whom exactly is this trade war supposed to impress? I don't like writing this column, says the guy. It's no longer the nation I grew up admiring. Anyways, I'm here to warn you. I'm here to tell you to be prepared. I'm here to tell people who are in politics in Canada, we need to stop the new gun control policies that are going through. We need to be ready to arm Canadians. We need to be ready to arm Canadians with significantly. We need to start preparing our country for war, for actual war. Not that I am sure or positive that for sure will happen. I think that if the Americans decide to invade Canada, it would probably result eventually in the destruction of their own country as you know it. So bring it on, you fuckers, because you do that, the whole world will come against you. Your own country will turn against itself. People won't support this, and you'll have a revolution on your hands from within. You'll have a whole world stacking up against you from without. So go ahead, America. Try to take us down. We dare you. We will be the last fucking thing you ever do. That's the truth. That's what Canada is. We're tough. We are tough. Tougher than people realize. And maybe we're not as tough as we used to be, in my opinion, but I think we could be that again easily. It can come back, people. Find it. Get training. Get working out. Get doing push-ups. Get watching martial arts. Start practicing shooting. Start practicing hunting. Start thinking about garden, food security. Start talking to your neighbors. Start making plans. Start pushing your politicians. Start writing letters saying the gun control policy is going to leave us vulnerable. We need to be ready to defend our country. Start pushing, especially those of us who live out here in the country. We should be allowed to arm ourselves should the Americans coming down that highway right there to take the gold out of the hills here in Wells. Yeah, because that's what they'd be coming for, things like that. Okay, everybody, hit like, share, subscribe, keep strong, be the resistance, Know that you are standing up to it, feel it. Take solidarity, support each other. An injury to one is an injury to all, and we are all in this together in Canada. We need to get off this total political divide nonsense. Wake the fuck up and start supporting your country that we have. And I'm not a traditional patriot, but I'm a community believer, and this is my community. So I'm becoming fast a very strong patriot, because that's what we need to do to ensure that we still have freedom, actual freedom, and a future that we're up against right now, an apocalyptic climate change death cult regime in the United States. See it for what it is. Fight it. Bye now.